Good morning, everybody. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love and the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, and everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to this present moment, here to a new beginning here, and I'm seeing life so clearly now. So get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, and it's the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. 'Cause here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in, so get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, and it's the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, oh my soul. Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity Temple on the Plaza, where diversity is praised and peace and harmony are the rewards. My name is Diana Greer, and it's a joy to be with you today. Reverend Ann Tabor is off today, but she's going to be back with us next week. If you're joining us for the first time or visiting from out of town, we're so happy you're spending this morning with us, and we want to invite you downstairs for community time following our service today in Unity Hall. And if you're joining us online, welcome. Please put in the chat where you're streaming in from. We'd love to hear from you. And now, let's prepare our hearts as we welcome our prayer chaplain to share the reading of today's daily word.
Good morning. The daily word for today, Sunday, August 24th, 2025, is gratitude. Our affirmation for today is gratitude is my heart's song. Our reading for today is gratitude is my heart's natural response when I think of the best life has to offer. But sometimes when I compare my circumstances with someone else's, or when I am distracted by negative thoughts or challenging situations, my closed heart may feel resentment rather than gratitude. I let the first twinge of resentment remind me to return to gratitude. I pause, breathe, and remember the truth of my being. Knowing I am a unique expression of God, I open my heart and realize again the divine presence that is always with me. I mindfully reconnect with the indwelling life, love, wisdom, understanding, and strength that have helped me grow through even the most challenging experiences of my life. My heart sings with gratitude. Our scripture today comes from Psalm 86:12. I give thanks to you, O Lord my God, with my whole heart. Our daily word is gratitude. Our today's affirmation is, gratitude is my heart's song. Thank you.
It's now time to begin our service with our temple chimes, our opening prayer, and our call for inspiration with Peggy Chelson. Our opening prayer can be found in your bulletin. Please follow along. Together, on this day, we dedicate ourselves to peace on earth. We accept ourselves without harsh judgment and express appreciation for our individuality. We live without fear to meet the events of this day with confidence. We accept others without prejudice to experience a sense of unity with all people. We honor our earthly environment and recognize a oneness with all creation. In harmony with ourselves, our lives, other people, and all of nature, we live this day with a peaceful mind, a peaceful heart, and a peaceful spirit. Thank you, God. Amen.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the world. Listen as your day unfolds, challenge what the future holds, try to keep your head up to the sky. Lovers, they may cause you tears, go ahead, release your fears, stand up and be counted, don't be ashamed to cry. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day. Hear what your mother said, read the books your father read, try to solve the puzzles in your own sweet time. Some may have more cash than you, others take a different view. My, oh my, hey, hey, yeah. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day. Time asks no questions, it goes on without you, leaving you behind if you can't stand the pace. The world keeps on spinning, can't stop it if you try to. The best part is danger staring you in the face. what the day unfolds. Challenge what the future holds. Try to keep your head up to the sky. Lovers may cause you tears. Go ahead, release your fears. My, oh my, hey, hey, yeah. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day. Yeah, 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 yeah. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. You gotta be real, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You got to be bad, you got to be bold. All I know, love will save the day. Yeah, yeah. All I know, love will save the day. All I know, love will save the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy. Thank you, Robert. All I know, love will save the day. That's one of my favorite songs. It's by Desiree. And it's called You Gotta Be. You gotta be. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be tough, you gotta be hard, you gotta be stronger. Whatever life is handing you, you gotta be. You gotta be. So it's really an honor to be with you this morning. I'm glad you made it in this beautiful sunshiny day in Kansas City. And those of you who are on live stream, thank you wherever you are for joining us today. I know there are probably a couple of people here who are new, maybe never been here before. Anybody who's new to Unity Temple? Yes. Exactly, at UMKC. I'm glad you're here again. And I know there are a couple of people who haven't been here for a while, like Kay Kirkland. If you've been here a long time ago, you heard him come up here and play his harmonica. And he's well-renowned. So Clay, why don't you stand up so we can say thank you for joining us today. Maybe he'll come back and play for us one of these days. We really enjoyed you, and thank you. I know you came a ways to be here. I haven't seen Doug for a while. Doug, it's good to see you. Yes. So, those of you, at least the one person who may be visiting the first time, or someone on live stream who just tuned in for the first time, let me just give you a little overview of what Unity is. And I'm wearing my interfaith stole I picked up from the Parliament of the World's Religions a couple of years ago, and it has the symbols of almost all of the world's religions, because Unity is about all faiths. So there's something for everybody. It's a spiritual celebration. It's not about one way of thinking. And Unity, according to Charles Fillmore, Unity's co-founder, is a classroom. It's one of life's fascinating classrooms. And that's what I love most about Unity. One of my friends a long time ago said, you know, I heard you're a preacher now, which is not true. But where I come from, you got to be a preacher. And I heard that, you know, I'm going to come and listen to you preach. And of course, I told her she would be sadly disappointed, because we do lessons in Unity. And the lessons are not so much for you as for the person speaking. As I always say, I am reading my own mail. I lead, along with Diana and Reverend Lauren Bennett, the Sunday morning metaphysical Bible class. Unity teaches that the Bible, which is one of many textbooks about the evolution of human consciousness, is our story. We teach that the Bible is not to be taken literally, like I learned when I was a kid. That God is a power somewhere up in the sky, this man with a long white beard that was going to strike me every time I did something wrong. And I grew up with that philosophy until I was 21 years old and was introduced to Unity. It changed my life. It changed my perception about this God, not a God outside of me, but a God within me. That wherever I go, God is. And it's up to me to act in that way. So in Unity, we only have 5 basic tenets we call principles. And actually, they are universal principles. They apply to all faiths. There is one presence and one power, no matter what you call it by. The universe, creator, God, Allah, one presence and one power, active in our lives and as the universe. God the good, all-knowing, all-powerful, everywhere present. And the second principle is that because we are all made in the image and likeness of God, we reflect the goodness of God when we choose to. That gets into the third principle. We choose our experiences by what we think, feel, and do. We don't choose our circumstances, but we choose the way we think, the way we act, the way we talk, and what we do. And then we create the experience based on that. The fourth principle is we connect with God through affirmative prayer and meditation. That's why we practice the silence during the service, so we can get in the habit of that connection with God, which only we can make individually because God is within. God is within each of us. And the fifth and most important principle is we live the truth we know. We live the truth we know. I can't live the truth for you. You can't live the truth for me. We each have our own truth. But we live the one that we know, and when we know better, as Maya Angelou said, we do better. So this is a learning opportunity. And as I'm sharing this with you, I'm ministering to myself. Another aspect of the Unity teachings is the 12 powers. And Charles Fillmore, all the New Thought leaders, Christian Science, Science of Mind, Religious Science, Unity, learned this from Emma Curtis Hopkins. She was considered the teacher of teachers of New Thought Christianity. And she taught that there are 12 innate faculties that we each possess. And they coincide with the 12 ganglionic nerve centers in the body temple. So each faculty has a spot in your beingness, in your body, in your organism. And that Charles Fillmore went a step further, and he said, okay, if that's the case, then there must be a correlation to the 12 months of the year and those 12 major followers of the way called disciples. And so each month we correlate the power, the location in the body temple, the disciple that it references, and there's an energy field. Now, I don't know that I can read auras, but I've heard some people can. Maybe some of you can look and you can see some light around someone, and it may be in a different color. Because all of us emit energy, and energy shows up in a color spectrum. And so that Charles Fillmore said, then each one of these 12 powers must relate to one of these 12 energy spectrums. So this month of August, we study the power of will. The disciple is Matthew. The location in the body is the center front of the brain, and the color spectrum is gray or silver. So usually when I speak around the last Sunday of the month, I wear the colors and I talk a little bit about what this is about. So I base my title today on this power of will. So let me start with this. There was a DEA agent, Drug Enforcement Agency agent, who went to a farm and said to the farmer, I have come to inspect your land because we believe that you are growing some illegal drugs, maybe marijuana or something. And the farmer said, no, that's not true. I don't have anything growing illegal. Do you have a warrant or anything? He says, sir, see this badge? I am a drug enforcement agent. I don't have to answer any questions. I don't have to explain anything to you. I have the power and authority with this badge to go wherever I want to go and do whatever I want to do. The farmer said, oh, I apologize. You just go right ahead. He said, but don't go to that side of the field. Well, naturally, when he told him not to go that side of the field, where do you think he'd want to go first? So the farmer went on about his business, doing his chores, and all of a sudden, from that side of the field, he heard screaming and yelling. And the DEA agent was running for his life because he was being chased by the farmer's bull. And so the farmer dropped his tools. He ran over to the fence and he said, show him your badge. Show him your badge. Now, the DEA agent was acting willfully. We do that when we negate the truth. We do that when we know what the principles say, but we do just the opposite. He was acting willfully. He had the authority. He had a badge. The farmer was exercising will. He did not put any pressure on he did not argue, he did not antagonize, he did not struggle. He just said, go right ahead, but just don't go over there. But the willful DEA agent thought he was smarter and sharper and trained for this, so he went in the wrong direction. We do that a lot. How many of you have, well, maybe this is just me reading my own mail, but I don't trust Siri all the time. First of all, she doesn't even speak the same language I speak. And so I get, she's on my GPS and she's telling me to turn right. I've been down that road before, and that is not the quickest route to get where I want to go. So willfully, I ignore Siri on the GPS, and I go in the other direction, and you know what happens. There's a construction going on. There's a roadblock going. I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time. Who else? I think everybody has done that. I thought it was just me. So in the Revealing Word, which is by Charles Fillmore, which gives the definition of all the nouns and adverbs and adjectives that appear most frequently in this textbook we call the Bible, it says that the will is our executive faculty. Is it no coincidence that when we have a last will and testament, there is an executor? The will is our executive faculty that tells us how to choose, what to choose, where to go, when to go, if we follow the will and we're not being willful, having to want our own way. It's the avenue through which your I am, that's who you are, your higher self expresses its potential. Now, there's a familiar expression that I've used for my title today. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. So let's look at the origin of that. I always like the etymology of idioms and words. So where does it come from? It's attributed to George Herbert in his English Proverbs called Jacula Prudentum. And the original statement is, to him that will, ways are not wanting. To him that will, ways are not wanting. So Jesus was called the way shower. That's how we refer to Jesus the Christ. He was the way shower. Now, he could show you the way. I could tell you which way to go. The GPS can give you directions, but if I'm not willing to follow, then I'm not going to get where I need to be in the time that I need to be there. Metaphysically, Jesus spoke in precepts, he performed miracles, and he spoke in parables. A parable is a short story with a hidden meaning that relates to our own lives. That's what these lessons are about. Everything in the lesson should relate back to, how does this work in my life? How does this work? How do I put this to use? So I want to tell you a story, one of them from the Bible. It's found in the book of John, chapter 5, verses 1 through 15. Now, the parable is about the man at the pool in Bethesda. How many of you have heard that story? I see a few hands. Good. Well, there's this crippled man at this pool, and he's laying on a mat. And he comes there every single day. There are hundreds of people with all manner of illness seeking healing. And there are 5 porches, and they're each on a different porch. There are hundreds of people, like on balconies. And at a certain time, an angel comes and stirs the water, and all those people rush in to the pool, except the man on the mat. He's crippled. He's a paraplegic by today's understanding, and he cannot move himself, and nobody will help him. This man, Jesus, comes along, and he sees the man laying there, and he sees everybody else in the pool, and he goes, "Hey, what are you doing laying there? Why aren't you in the pool?" He says, "I can't get in the pool. I come here every day. I've been coming here for 38 years. They see me. Some of these people know me, and they know I need help, but nobody will help me." And he was having what I call a PPP, a poor pity party. He was peeing on himself. So here he is lying on this mat, and nobody will help him. And he's telling Jesus all of his complaints. Now, this wise master teacher, according to this story, and remember, this is a story, but it's about our own consciousness. He says to him, "Well, do you want to be healed?" The man says, "What do you think? Did you just hear what I said? I've been coming here for 38 years on this mat, and nobody will help me. And I can't walk. Yes, I want to be healed. Now I'm putting words in his mouth. And Jesus said then, take up your mat and walk. Nobody said that to him before. They just walked around him. He stood up. He picked up his mat, and he walked. Now, this is a story, but what it's about is our third principle. I create my experiences by what I choose to think, what I feel, and what I believe. If I believe that I cannot do something, if I believe that I was born on the wrong side of the tracks, if I believe that nobody in my family has ever accomplished anything great, so how will I ever do anything great? If I believe what other people say about me before what I know about myself, I'm going to be like the man on the mat, waiting for somebody to come along to tell me that I have the power within me to change my life, to change my thinking. I may not be able to change my circumstances, but I can change the way I respond and react to those circumstances. Well, let's break this down metaphysically. There's a book called the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, written in 1931 by Charles Fillmore and others, that gives us the places, the parables, the symbols, and the events and the names that are characterized in this book we call the Bible. And it tells us what they mean in Hebrew or Aramaic, and then how that's interpreted in our lives. So let's look at this pool. The pool in Bethesda is a realization and consciousness that our life is being constantly purified, healed, and made new by the activity of our minds. Proverbs 12:2 says, do not be conformed to what the world says about you. Do not be conformed to what other people think about you, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That song by Desiree, you got to be bad, you got to be bold, you got to be wiser. Bethesda was a pool in Jerusalem. Jerusalem's known as the place of peace. By the sheep gate with 5 porches that sheltered a multitude of sick people who expected to receive the benefit of the healing believed to exist in the waters at certain periods. Now, it's based on sort of a superstition. However, when we break this down, 5 porches represent the 5 senses. And if I'm stuck on, because I can't see, I'm on my sight, I'm on the sight porch. I want to be healed. I want to be able to see. I'm on the hearing porch. I'm deaf. I can't hear. I'm on the feeling porch. I don't have the kinesthetic abilities. I have neuropathy or something that's keeping me from feeling. Or I'm on the taste porch where I don't have the taste. I can't taste my food. Now, I'm making this simple for us to understand what these 5 porches represent our 5 senses: sight, touch, taste, hearing, smell. But in reality, when we talk about it metaphysically, it's those ailments we create in our own minds that hold us back. I'm not talking about physical disabilities that are real. I'm talking about mental disabilities, where we hold on to negative thinking that keeps us from getting to where we need to be as whole and perfect children of God. So the point in consciousness where we feel this flow of this cleansing spirit is being at that pool in Bethesda. Now, the sheep gate represents the channel through which this life force flows. That's what it's about. So our limitations are based on the appearance of things. Sometimes we base our appearances on our 5 senses. If I can't see it, taste it, touch it, feel it, or hear it, or smell it, it does not exist. And that's why some of us turn away from these spiritual teachings, because we can't see them, we can't touch them, we don't know that this really happened. We're not back there when all these stories were told. But if we relate the stories to our own evolution of consciousness, they make sense. And we do this on Sunday mornings in the Bible class if you ever want to join us, either on Zoom or in person. So the true spiritual healing is the Word. The Word. It's the words we speak to ourselves. It's the thoughts we think in our hearts. So I grew up comparing myself to other people. As a child, I wanted my parents to be like the other kids' parents that I admired. Their parents were educated. Their parents were on the PTA board. Their parents came to frequent school meetings. My mother didn't drive, and she didn't like to ask people for a ride. My father, if he was at home, he was sleeping off the night before, having too much of something to drink so that he could be prepared to go to General Motors for the midnight shift. And so my parents never went to a PTA meeting. But my mother had this strong educational sense. She only got to go to the 8th grade, and he only got to go to 5th grade. They grew up in the 20s in Louisiana and Arkansas. But my mother would read everything. She read the paper every day. She worked the puzzle every day. She was just brilliant, especially with word search. Well, Mom would do my spelling bee words. And if it was a word she couldn't pronounce, she'd have me turn my back. She'd have me read the word, then turn my back. She would say the word, and then I would spell it. And I won the spelling bee all the way up to 6th grade for the school. And I'm not saying that to brag on me, but to brag on my mom. Because where there's a will, there's a way. She didn't have the education that my brother and sister and I got, but she made sure we got it. Even though she couldn't sometimes do the math with us, she didn't go as far in education, but she was wise, and she had what she called bought sense. She always said bought sense is better than none, and some people call it mother wit. So I grew up comparing myself, not realizing I already had everything I needed. I already had it, and it wasn't until I got grown that I put it in perspective. Where there's a will, there's a way. She would show me the way, and I was willing to follow. She would tell me nothing beats a failure but a try. So she would never allow me to give up on anything. If something was hard, a subject was hard, she just helped me to focus. She didn't understand it. She couldn't help me with my math or with other subjects, but she could certainly inspire and encourage me. Where there's a will, there's a way. She also would occasionally recite this poem, and she said when she was in the 8th grade, her last year in school, she knew it would be her last year. She was the youngest girl of 6 children, and her youngest brother, my grandfather, felt was more important to have an education. We're talking 1920s Arkansas, okay? So my mother had to stay home and help with the farm and help her mother around the house. She really resented that, but she read everything they brought home. She read their homework. She just kept up with everything, and that's what made her so smart. She was very educated to not have a formal education past 8th grade. But in the 8th grade graduation, the young man who was chosen to be the valedictorian was to recite a poem. And Mama thought, well, this is going to be my last year. I want to be the one to recite the poem. Well, she was second in line, and she was so hoping she'd get to recite it, but she didn't. But she memorized it, and she memorized it so well that she taught it to me, and anytime I would get discouraged, she would say, be the best of whatever you are. Don't compare yourself to other people. Be the best of whatever you are. Douglas Mallock wrote it this way: if you can't be a pine on top of the hill, be a shrub in the valley, but be the best little shrub by the side of the reel. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a bush, be a bit of the grass, and some highway happier make. If you can't be a muskie, be a bass, but be the liveliest bass in that lake. We can't all be captains. There's got to be crew. There's something for all of us here. There's big work to do, and there's lesser to do, but the task you must do is a nearer. If you can't be a highway, be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. It isn't by size that you win or fail. Be the best of whatever you are. What my mother was telling me is where there's a will, there's a way. And she was right. And I lived on that poem all of my life. Every accomplishment I've achieved in my career, in my life, as a parent, as a mother of my mini-me and her brother, everything I do is based on that, being the best of whatever I can be. And my best today might not be the same as yesterday, but as long as I'm being the best that I can be, I don't need to compare myself with anyone else. A few months ago, much to Cassie's chagrin, I insisted on showing a video from America's Got Talent. That got us in a little bit of trouble, but Cassie forgave me. It was a story of Zion Clark. Zion Clark was born without legs. He was 25 years old and auditioning for America's Got Talent. He left Simon Cowell in tears. Zion Clark said he had been in 16 foster cares, And when he aged out at 17, there was no place for him to go. The foster care organization called on a lady that they knew would take care of a child who really needed help. She not only brought him into her home, she adopted him, and she told him, I will not take any excuses from you. So on the back of between his shoulder blades is tattooed, no excuses. He walks on his hands across that stage. He said he didn't know his birth parents. They were on drugs, and one was in prison, one in jail. And he always wondered why they named him Zion Zachariah Daniels. That was his birth name. And he said he realized after all he'd been through, being mistreated, being abused, being treated like an animal in the homes that were supposed to care for him, that Zion is a mountain in the Bible where people escaped the cruelty of the world. Zion. And he proved that. He did all kinds of things. He has Guinness records for being the fastest man on two hands. He has a Guinness record for wrestling. He said he lost 200 matches in a row before he won that first match. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. So my mother would also tell me when I was ready to quit something, just keep it going. Just keep it going. She loved poetry and gave me my love for poetry. So you probably have that. And I gave it to you on the back of I gave you a little handout. And it has some information for you because I want you to leave with fewer questions than answers, fewer answers than questions. And I might have, thank you, Diana. So just keep it going. This is about will. You have the power within you to achieve great things if you don't give up. And this is Frank L. Stanton. He says, if you strike a thorn or rose, keep it going. If it hails or if it snows, keep it going. Tain't no use to sit and whine when the fish ain't on your line. Bait your hook and keep on trying. Keep it going. When the weather kills your crop, keep it going. When you tumble from the top, keep it going. Suppose you're out of every dime, getting broke in any crime. Tell the world you're pulling fine. Keep it going. When it looks like all is up, keep it going. Drain the sweetness from the cup. Keep it going. See the wild bird on the wing. Hear the bells that sweetly ring. When you feel like sighing, sing. Keep it going. I wanted y'all to have that, a piece of Mary Wayne, my mother, of what she had gifted me with, this power of will, to never give up on anything. Now, that has gotten me in trouble a few times because I was born under the sign of Taurus, and that sign is a bull. And like the bull that was chasing the DEA officer, we go after whatever it is, even if it means hitting a wall. So, but I am one of those never give up, do or die people. I also gave you some quotes that I thought would help you, and also a little symbol. It's the lotus. Why is it the lotus? Why is that the symbol for will? If you know anything about the lotus flower, it's under deep, murky mud. The seed is buried deep. All there is darkness. Nobody even knows there's a flower coming from that. Who would guess? Eventually, this seed garners enough strength to push its way up through this dark, murky mud to the surface and blossoms into this beautiful lotus. Where there's a will, there's a way. You're like the lotus. Whatever it is that's challenging you right now, you have the power within you to rise above it. Where there's a will, there's a way. How many of you remember the Ann Landers column? I know I'm dating myself, but I see there are a few that I'm dating you too. Ann Landers' column once wrote this, and I copied it down. I was digging through some things the other day, and I never throw anything away. Another problem with being a Taurus. Did is a word of achievement. Won't is a word of retreat. Might is a word of bereavement. Can't is a word of defeat. Ought is a word of duty. Try is a word each hour. Will is a word of beauty. And can is a word of power. So I like for you to leave here today with your cans on. Make sure you have your cans and your wills with you wherever you go. I read the daily inspiration for better living. I brought it here to show you. Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman started this program through the Universal Foundation for Better Living when she was ordained by Unity. Her story is a long one. I've given it to you before, so I won't bore you with it, but she was like the Jackie Robinson of Unity. She broke the color barrier as a Unity minister. And I might not be here today were it not for Johnny Coleman and Ruth Mosley. So in the daily inspiration for better living for today, this is what I want you to remember. The affirmation is believe in God in you. Believe in God in you. There are stories, some from others, some your own, where the impossible became possible. A mother lifting a car to save her child, a person surviving odds so stacked against them that they had no logical reason to win, but they did. In moments of crisis, something awakens in us. It's not just adrenaline. It's not just will. It's presence. It's power. It's God within. In those moments, we stop doubting. We stop overthinking. We stop waiting for help to arrive. We believe, we act. We're fueled by strength we didn't know we had. What if we didn't have a crisis? What if we awakened that presence every single day? What if we believed in that power when the skies were clear, not just in the storm? That thing inside you, the one that rises up when you need it the most, like the man on the mat when Jesus appeared at the right time, is not separate from you. It is you. It's the God in you. Always present, always powerful, always ready. Stop searching outside of you. Believe in the God in you. Believe in the God in you. The scripture with today's daily inspiration for better living is from 1 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter, the 16th verse. Do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in you? So I want to ask you, what limiting thoughts are you holding on to? Now remember I told you I read my own mail, right? So when I ask you that question, it's rhetorical. I'm actually talking to Sandra. What limiting thoughts are you holding on to about yourself, about your abilities, about others? And then I want you to ask yourself, do you want to be healed? Do you want to be healed of negative thoughts and feelings and beliefs that no longer serve your highest good? Then, as Jesus said to the man on the mat, get off your pity party and your pity potty, take up your mat, and walk into the newness of what life has in store for you. Norman Vincent Peale said it this way, change your thoughts and you will change your world. The word will appears almost 4,000 times in the Bible for a very good reason. Myrtle Fillmore, Unity's co-founder, spent 2 years changing her thinking, which led to a healing. And she lived another 40 years past her terminal diagnosis that she was going to die in 6 months. That's on Myrtle, on which the foundation of Unity was built. Prayer and meditation. Zion Clark was born without legs, and he showed the world that nothing is impossible if you believe in yourself. When Unity, we call Jesus the way shower. Why? We can be shown the way, but we have to have the will to go in the right direction. We create our experiences by what we choose to think, what we say, what we do. Where there's a will, there's a way. Now, I want you to just sit quiet for just a moment. No applause, please, as we move right into this time of meditation. Peggy and Robert will lead us in singing together in the silence.
In the silence, there is a sacred place, a secret meeting place. Love is there. In the silence, where every color blends and every rainbow ends, good is there. In the light, now you find that you know peace of mind. In the silence, your path is paved in gold, Peace is there. Truth is there. God is there.
I invite you now to take a deep breath. Relax your shoulders. If you've been sitting a while, it might help to just roll your neck a little bit. Find that peaceful, comfortable place deep down in your spirit. God is there. Good is there. Peace is there. Truth is there. I invite you now to just, as you feel led, and continue to take a deep breath and slowly exhale. You may close your eyes or lower your gaze. As you do, I want you to bring to mind a thought you're holding about yourself that is limiting. Something you often repeat in your own mind, negating the goodness of God that is in you, knowing that greater is that power in you than anything that is in the world. If you become distracted by noise inside or outside, intentionally return your attention to your breathing, inhaling slowly and exhaling slowly. Take these words as your own. I am in the presence of pure spirit. I am now immersed in the ever-present substance of the divine. I am in God. God shows up as me, as a perfect expression of the Spirit within me and around me. I have power and dominion over my thoughts, words, and actions. I am now aware of my thoughts and how they express themselves in my life. I focus my attention on thoughts of love, peace, joy, kindness, and gratitude in the silence. invite you now to ever so gently take in a few deep breaths. Bring your attention back to your body and hear these words as your own. As I go about my life, I allow God to be God in and through me. As I encounter challenges, I use the power of divine will to let go of the need to be right so that I can discover truth. I heal my mind and discover my true power and dominion. Peace, prosperity, and life are expressed in all areas of my life. And so it is. Take a deep breath, open your eyes, and feel the peace and calm in and around you as we join together in singing, I Am So Blessed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I can almost see it, that dream I'm dreaming, but there's a voice inside my head saying, you'll never reach it. Every step I'm taking, every move I make feels lost with no direction. My faith is shaking, but I gotta keep trying, gotta keep my head held high. There's always gonna be another mountain, I'm always gonna wanna make it move, always gonna be an uphill battle, sometimes I've gotta have to lose. Ain't about how fast I'll get there, ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's a climb. The struggles I'm facing, the chances I'm taking, sometimes might knock me down, but no, I'm not breaking. I may not know it, but these are the moments that I'm gonna remember most. Yes, just gotta keep going, and I gotta be strong, gotta keep on pushing on, 'cause always Sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's a climb. But it ain't but it's about the climb. Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy. Thank you, Robert. It's now time in our service when we share our gifts with the temple that provides so many gifts and keeps on giving to so many people. As Charles Fillmore described this, as a haven of rest and inspiration for all people to come. And they come all during the week. So we keep the lights on for them, and we keep the lights on for all of us. So those of you who are recurrent givers as ambassadors, we thank you. And if you would like to become a recurrent giver, go to unitytemple.com, and that way you don't have to wait for the offering basket to be brought around, and you can just be a recurrent giver. We appreciate all the gifts, and we know that these gifts do the will and the work of the one that sent us to be here to worship together, to celebrate this service. And so I invite you to join me in affirming the blessing of the gifts together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I give and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen.
I wish you strength to rise unafraid, like the morning sun taking on the day. Because when you shine, you light up the place. So I wish you strength. I wish you faith that you'll overcome whatever you face until your journey's done. Beyond any words, as certain as grace, I wish you faith. I wish you could see the you that I see there at the edge of possibility. I pray that you'll find all that you need. I wish you peace that comes from within, a gentle release of all that might have been, like the stillness that waits between waking and sleep. I wish you peace. I wish you could see the you that I see there at the edge of possibility. I pray that you will find all that I need. I wish you strength to rise unafraid, because when you shine, you light up the place. I wish you strength. I wish you peace. I wish you strength.
Thank you, Peggy and Robert. This morning, I'd like to take a moment to recognize our wonderful prayer chaplains who are serving with us today. Julie and Ruby Renee will be available after service up here in the front of the sanctuary to offer one-on-one prayer support. Please remember that anything you share with them is held in the strictest confidence. Our prayer chaplains are here to support you and will be honored to pray with you. I'd like to invite Fred Schell up for an announcement.
Good morning. I'm here to share with you some of my experiences as a prayer chaplain in the hope that you might latch on to something that encourages you to think about and even become a prayer chaplain. I've been a prayer chaplain for approximately 9.5 years. 3 important takeaways for me have been: 1, you will become more aware of people's needs. 2, you will gain deeper insight in our oneness. 3, you will have more friends, known and unknown, than you had before. In summary, I have been enriched. In my years, I have formally prayed with fewer than 40 people individually. Informally, I pray several times a day. The camaraderie and unity connections I've had as a chaplain are gifts. The learning and sharing can be as rewarding as you make them. The varieties of perspectives are broadening. You will learn how prayer can be experienced and presented. Nobody prays wrong. I found there are techniques, approaches, words, timing, expressions I'd never considered. Great textbooks and shared experiences help as well. Above all, there is the person, the group, the circumstances involved with a prayer. You're in these moments of praying, holding sacred space, and trying, hoping to speak something that allows our common divinity, our oneness, the circumstances, to bring the support, confidence, relief, understanding, whatever is needed. You will learn to do this. You can do this. You will be serving. Perfection isn't required. Being there, seeing the dignity in others, and doing your best is required. I've never known a prayer chaplain to fail. In my experience, all that have been a prayer chaplain personally gained something positive as they served. If you love yourself, if you love others, if you're trying to live unity principles, the Prayer Chaplain program can help you serve others and benefit yourself. A meeting starts after this service at 11:45 in the downstairs power and light room. There are signs in the lobby and downstairs to direct you there. In the meeting, you'll hear more about the Prayer Chaplain program, and can get questions answered. Thank you. Now, the unscheduled part of the program, and we're running over time, and I apologize. But when I saw Clay Kirkland here today, I just light up every time I see the guy. When I think of him, I think of synchronicity and COVID. If you never saw Clay around here much, it's because in the time that he was most prevalently sharing great music with all of us, he was one of 2 or 3 people up on the stage, and it was telecast during COVID. And the synchronicity comes from the fact that while he's performed in Kansas City, and still does for years, he was primarily working in Colorado, and COVID shut things down, so he came back to Kansas City, and somehow he miraculously ended up helping us every Sunday for well over a year and a half. He's a great guy. Thank you.
Just a few more announcements. Make sure to join us next Sunday for a new Sunday series entitled The Practice of Prayer. Reverend Ann Tabor will be sharing part 1, If Prayer Works, Why Doesn't Prayer Work, at 10:30. The flowers on stage here are in remembrance of Charles William Hanson. You will notice on the back of your bulletin is a QR code to sign up for our weekly newsletter. This is a great way to stay connected with us here at Unity and to see what's happening here on the Plaza. So if you will, please stand and we'll welcome our children in. Oh, no, we don't have any today. So thank you. We have big children. So thank you again for joining us today, both in person and online, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. So let's close together with a prayer of protection, and let there be peace on earth.
Eternally, let there be peace